Hey, it's Dr. Sherry with Titan Elite Coaching. So this morning I posted a video of me driving after I dropped my kids off, just talking about how grumpy I was this morning and what I was trying to do to fix that. And as I thought about it, it is so important to have frameworks on how to do things differently in life or to make things run more efficiently, that I was like, duh, Sherry, why don't you develop a framework around what you did this morning? So here you go. It's a 4-step framework for when you're in a grumpy mood. Okay. The first step is you have to recognize it and own it. Now, this is often the hardest step because we so easily get caught up in just behaving and acting and reacting that we don't really consciously recognize that we are in a bad mood or that we are super irritable, and stop and reflect on that. So it's going to take a little bit of skill to develop the ability to recognize and own it, but that is the first step. You've got to own it and be like, okay, I am super grumpy right now. That's a thing. Okay, step 2 is then you've got to speak it. This is really important because sometimes I own things, but if I don't speak it, which means actually sharing it with somebody else, I'm not really holding myself accountable to changing it. So if I notice that I've been super grumpy to my husband, I have to speak it to him and say, I realize I was a total butt to you this morning and I was not giving you eye contact and I could have done better. So speaking it sometimes involves asking for forgiveness, but sometimes speaking could also just be owning it and acknowledging it to other people, like I did on the video this morning. So, I was making everybody aware that I had a grumpy morning, and so I'm holding myself accountable to changing that because other people know that I know. It's kind of one of those things like, I know that you know that I know that you know. Get it? So own it and then speak it. The third step is analyzing. A lot of you, this may not be a hard step because sometimes we overanalyze, but the point of this is analyze to find out what is contributing to whatever it is that you're trying to change. So for me this morning, it was thinking through my eating habits. It was thinking through kind of all of the external and internal reasons why I might have been so grumpy, because then if I can pinpoint some things, that gives me something super specific and concrete to then do differently, and maybe to be aware of in the future. So if some of those situations come up again, I can be a little bit more proactive in keeping myself from getting grumpy. So the first is own it, recognize it. Second one is to speak it. And the third one is to analyze it. And then the fourth one is simply choosing to do something different, acting different, an immediate change, really. So sometimes the immediate change can happen after you analyze something and you realize what you can do differently to make long-term change. But sometimes it's just changing the state that you're in, or changing the location that you're in, or maybe it's taking a shower and feeling like you're physically and emotionally washing off the grumpy mood and kind of resetting. It could be almost anything, but you have to make a choice to do something to change immediately. So there's your 4-step process. Step 1 is to own it and recognize it. Second is to speak it. Third is to analyze it, and fourth is immediate action. So I hope that was helpful for you, the 4-step framework to changing out of a grumpy mood.